everyone, this is Monday 23, and yeah, you might wonder why in the world I'm just gonna switch every single time to English. Well, sometimes in a while it has to be very useful to practice another language, talk with some other person who lives in a different country as that where you used to live, and this is a very special occasion because I have a passionate person. We're going to discuss a lot of things, but probably foremost, I think baseball. And he's half Brazilian, but he lives in Florida. It's a crazy world these days, I know. But I introduced him, and I'm so glad, so pumped that he is right here with us. Matt Lopes. Matt, thank you, man. It's a great honor to have you here in the show, and I'm excited, man. Let's do it. How are you?
Yeah, I'm glad to be. I think you cut out. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, all right. Do you want me to give a little intro?
Yeah. Go ahead.
My name's Matt Lopes. I'm 29 years old. I'm a professional hitting coach, professional hitting instructor in South Florida. So I obviously, as he introduced me, I'm from a different part of the world here.
Yeah.
It's super cool that I get to connect with people like this and other people who are passionate about the sport. So I'm excited to be on here with him and talk about baseball. I'll talk a little bit about my career and my story, and then we'll take it from there. So I grew up in South Florida. Grew up playing baseball here locally. I'm from Deerfield Beach, which is about 15 minutes north of Fort Lauderdale and about an hour north of Miami. So South Florida, real big baseball. Probably the best baseball in the whole world.
Yeah.
With all the islands nearby, Dominican Republic, Cuba, Puerto Rico. We got Mexico. Florida is just the melting pot for baseball. So growing up here, the competition and just the baseball atmosphere I think is amazing. I think South Florida is a great place in terms of talent and the different cultures. I love living here, and growing up playing baseball, it was truly a great experience meeting and being a part of so many different. Baseball has brought me so much, being able to experience so many different things. But I went to Deerfield Beach High School, just my local high school. High school baseball was okay. The high school that I went to wasn't. They were very good before I had been there, so that was what had drawn me into going there.
Yeah.
When I got there, the development and I think the coaching staff and some of the culture started to go downhill. It's a public high school. The funding and with public high school baseball in Florida in general, the pay isn't very good. So with the public baseball, it's very public high school sports. It's very hit or miss. So there's some high schools in South Florida who flourish and have a lot of maybe good programs, good history, and have a lot of money coming into the program. They get nice baseball fields, nice equipment. Deerfield, unfortunately, baseball just wasn't a priority at our high school. So when I went there, my first couple years, we were good. And then by the time I was a senior, unfortunately, we weren't very good. But I worked hard enough. I did enough to earn myself a scholarship to be able to still go on to the next level. I was fortunate to have some coaches in my life when I did my private instruction and I played travel baseball competitively. So I was around, I was in competitive atmospheres even outside of my high school. I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship to Wilmington University, which is a Division II school up in Delaware, which completely...
Yeah, it's a different world. It's a different world, I know. I mean, I have not been able to be around there, but I know how competitive, as you mentioned, everything is so challenging at the time. But kind of listen to you, and I brought my attention to this. It really got to me in terms of, you asked me before we're doing this, why me? Why me, Mondo? And I just kind of replied to you because I can see a person who is very passionate. He loves what he do, and I still, that would be the same answer right now, man. So continue with going on with this. I just I keep wondering. Baseball, sometimes people might confuse us. I mean, it's very confusing sometimes because people might say, it's like, oh, this is an easy sport. It's like, oh, you can just hit a ball and you run. That's it, man. Piece of cake. But then I just kind of listen to you again and I say, no, this thing is not so easy as it appears to be. Because you have to be very committed to sacrifice whatever you want to call it, whatever you sacrifice you want to make. You have to. If not, it's not going to work.
Yeah, no, I think, I played a lot of sports growing up. I played golf at my high school. I played basketball in my high school. You mentioned earlier I got the Brazilian background.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I played soccer. You got to play soccer. If you're Brazilian, you got to play soccer. So I've played a lot of different sports. I think hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in the professional sports world. It's a failure sport. So when you look at basketball, when you look at maybe football, like throwing a football, you look at other sports, a lot of the scoring, if you're good, if you're a better player in that sport, you're going to succeed more times than not. Basketball, you're going to make 50-60% of your shots. When you're throwing a pass, football, you're going to complete most of your passes. When you catch the ball, you're going to catch more than you drop. With hitting, the best players in the world fail more than they succeed.
Yeah.
So with the way the mind works, if you're failing more than you're succeeding, you would think you're bad. You would think, I'm not very good. But with hitting, that's not the case. So, to experience failure, it's something that it's not normal for you to lose and fail, but then be looked at and say, okay, this guy's really good at what he does.
Yeah.
So baseball is a different animal.
It's so different, man. Because I know probably I'm gonna throw out some names out here about talking about baseball, of course. But if we mention Tony Gwynn, if we mention Derek Jeter, some of the guys who were the best of the best hitting, you mentioned before, they fail a lot of times, but then they just bounce back, whatever reason, whatever force they might have inside of them, and they just boom, that 3,000 hits or 4,000. I don't know. Pete Rose at the time. What we haven't, I did it. We didn't see him playing Pete Rose, but we know stories. We know who he was at the field, and it was a hitting machine. But then those three guys I just mentioned, I think that the failure was part of the game, and it's still part of the game. And I think now what you can see as an instructor is probably you kind of share the mindset to the youngsters in terms of if you want to play this game, okay, this is a different animal, of course, but you must learn that failure is always going to be around. Every single time, no matter what talent you have or not, is going to be there.
Absolutely. And even when I'm teaching my kids, I even get away from how hard it is at times. I'll look at a kid swing and I'll be working with a player, and my job is to give feedback, to give information when there's something that they need to improve on. But what I need to do a better job of, and what is just so hard about the sport is that when I tell kids, hey, you need to work on this. This is something you need to get better at. I need to also tell them and constantly reinforce, like, you're gonna fail. This is it. I have to give you the information. I have to tell you that this is something that you're doing wrong. But when you go up there, you can't think negatively. You can't dwell on the things that you can't do. So when we're in the cage and we're practicing, it's completely different. It's, hey, we got to get better. We got to work on this. We have to improve here. But then when you step in that game and you go into that box, you're the best in the world. You got to think you're the best in the world. You can't think about what's wrong. You can't think of anything negative, and that's hard. It's not an easy thing for a young kid to do. It's not an easy thing for an adult to do. Like we said, it's a different. very difficult.
Matt, I just want to, I want to summarize. I want to add something about this thing that you just mentioned. And I was talking about with some other friend about not precisely about baseball, but probably about golf. And this, you might say, okay, now we're talking about golf. No, it's about the message, the real thing about it. It's like sometimes if you're at the tee, you're at the box. Probably we're just always, most of the times we're thinking, I'm gonna hit it so hard. I'm gonna just hit it right there to the center field. I'm gonna hit it like so far away. But if we're not that concentrated, I think it all becomes all part of the process as we're just kind of getting through that part, because the process itself of being a professional baseball player, it requires all the time. It requires a lot of things. But what I just want to, telling you about that story with my friend is how, as a human being, we are always kind of focused on the result. Even we are not even expecting that what is going to happen at the time. So that's what I can see, and that's what my take in terms of baseball. Because it always happens to me in terms of when I get to the box and say, okay, I'm going to hit it. But then I say, okay, if are you really enjoying this? Like playing the game, that's probably some kind of question as a human being that probably we just don't do that often. I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to carry on the perspective in terms, probably philosophical perspective, if I might say. But you are the one who I've been being able to work with a lot of different kids along the way, and also your experience. But that's my take. Mike. I don't know if we agreed on that. And it's sometimes.
I'll feed off of that. So there's a professional hitter that works at our facility. I don't work with him personally. He played for my boss. He comes in. He's his own coach, kind of. He comes in once or twice a week. His name's Tristan Casas. He's in the Red Sox organization. He's unbelievable. I've seen him for a couple years, the way he carries himself, and I'm going to tell you a story in a second about how he thinks, but I want to reiterate, this guy is the smartest player I've ever been around, and his mindset and the way he thinks is what separates him, and it's why he's so special. But he had an interview. My partner interviewed him for a podcast recently, and he said when he goes up to the box, so when he's walking up to the plate, he never has any expectations for the at bat. He never goes up there saying, I gotta get a hit. I have to hit a home run. I need to do this. I expect to do this. He says, for one, it's so hard that why is he gonna add pressure to himself? Why is he gonna make expectations when it's a failure sport? He might not meet those expectations. And then, like you said, you don't enjoy it. You're not having fun with it. You start to make hitting something that isn't enjoyable, and that's not good. But this is what he said that just made me, it kind of blew my mind. He said he wants to have 100% intention and 100% engagement. Those are the only goals for when he walks up to the box. So the 100% intention is just his approach. What am I looking for here? Is he going to throw me an outside pitch? Is he going to throw me a fastball? Is he going to throw me a curveball? Let me have a plan. I just want to have a plan for what I'm trying to do here. I'm going to try to hit the ball to left field. I'm going to try to hit the ball to right field. I just want to have a good intention for my at bat. And then the 100% engagement is just the focus, just being present, staying in one place at a time. You're not worried about the people in the stands. You're not worried about what's going on after the game. You're not worried about the error that you made last inning, or you're no outside noise. You're present. You're focused on that guy who's on the mound. He's trying to get you out. He's got your attention, and I'm going to go up there with my plan, and that's it. And then he says in the interview, he said, after the ball leaves my bat, it's in God's hands. I have no control over what if the infielder makes an error. I have no control if the wind blows the ball out of the park. If the guy catches it or not, I can only control so many things. So I heard that on the interview, and it shows how smart he is, and he's young too. He's 21 years old, and he actually might be 20 years old. So remember that name, Tristan Casas, and you can remember the story. You'll see him. He's going to be He's going to be in the major leagues probably this year, maybe. He'll get called up this year. He's a great baseball player.
Oh, that's man, I'm speechless. I don't know how to. I don't know what else to say. But the only thing is how beautiful it is just this game. That's the only thing I have to say. And man, I think that's what really kind of drive us to be passionate about baseball. And myself, being a Mexican, of course, I do love baseball, and it's magical, man. It's always you never know also what is going to happen, because probably, as he mentioned, the next thing that is going to happen is very something unique. You're not going to relive it at the time. So as we're doing this, I think you are just having a perfect game, man. We're having this amazing connection. I do appreciate that. And I just want to, again, congratulate of your job, because it was not your job, it's your passion. I just want to say thank you for this time. And I hopefully one day we can share, I don't know, probably batting practice. You can teach me some kind of tricks. I'm not going to cheat as Alex. Sometimes I did it. I'm not going to do that. Alex sometimes, well, anyway, anything can happen. But I just want to learn from the best. And you're one of the best, my friend. So I'm so glad. I'm thrilled just to have this conversation with you. And anytime you want to come by here in Mexico, be my guest.
Actually, do you follow the professional league in Mexico?
I do.
Do you know who Nate Santiago is?
Man, no. I haven't heard.
I'm not sure what league he plays on. It's a friend of mine. I know he pitches in Mexico. He played on my high school baseball team, and he pitches professionally in Mexico. So keep that in mind. Nate Santiago.
Okay.
If you see him, you know that he's a good friend of mine.
Okay, I will do it. Matt, can you just remember how you are on Instagram and social media, that people can follow you and can reach to you, of course?
Excuse me?
Oh, your social media.
Oh, Matt Lopes Baseball. So here I don't know if you guys can see my shirt, but yeah, that's my Instagram page, Matt Lopes Baseball. I try to give a lot of value to young players, to professional players. I think Instagram is a great platform to connect with people, to connect with people like yourself, and
yeah.
I try to be engaged and do as much as I can on social media to help baseball players, help hitters, help people, coaches, anyone attached to the game, anyone connected to the baseball world. I try to use my platform, to give out the best information and just help coach and teach the game that I love.
Sweet, man. That's dope. And I appreciate once again your time, your precious time, and hope to see you soon.